recording on this computer. All right. It says, write a function that takes in a car object in the form of people, miles, and spare tires used, and a number of miles driven as an integer. So this car is an object, and then the miles is a number. Update the car object to include the new amount of miles on the odometer. Additionally, the road is very rocky, so you'll need to use an additional spare tire every 1,000 miles. Update the car object to reflect this too as well. So this car object, this is an example input, 5,500 miles used. I guess we take 55 plus 1,500, and then spare tires used. You can take 5,500 divided by 1,000, round down, and assign it to the number of spare tires used. All right, let's do some pseudocoding first. Whoop. All right, write a function named car trip that takes in an object and number of miles. So in order to get the spare, my initial, so what I'm doing is literally just adding the miles to the, I'm adding the miles to the miles object, as well as doing some math, like the miles divided by 1,000 and rounding down, and I can get the number of spare tires used, and I can assign it to this object as well, or this value, spare tires used object. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to break each thing down. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to try to get how many spare tires I'm going to use. So I'm going to say write a function, or not write a function, write a variable spares used, and assign it to the value of what is it? Miles divided by 1,000. And so, for example, this one, 5,500 divided by 1,000 is 5.5, but you can't use 5.5 spare tires, so we're gonna have to round that down. So there's a built-in method, miles used, and round down, because we want to round down to the nearest whole number. So I've got that variable. And then I just want to, I don't even need a new, I can reassign the value of the object miles to the object miles. I'm going to say, whoop, car object and miles. Sorry if you hear my dog barking. Reassign the value of car object, miles, so car object miles to car object, the current value, plus the miles that I'm passing in as an argument. So I'm reassigning that, and I'm creating a variable, and then lastly, I can just reassign the spare, car object, spare tires used value to spare tires used plus spares used. And just return the car object. 1 second. Oh, hold on. Drake, shut up. All right, let's actually try to write this out. Write a variable, let spares used equals number value of miles. So miles divided by 1,000. Let's just console log that. Spares used. And let's pass this in. Car trip. Oop. If I run that, so I'm passing in this object with people, Spider-Man, Batman, miles 1,500. Spares tires used is 0, and then 5,500. So if I run that, I get 5.5 in the console. But I need to round that down. I can use math.floor, which is a built-in method that just rounds everything down to the nearest whole integer. So if I run that again, I get 5. So there, I've got the number of spare tires used. And now I can reassign the value of car object miles. So car miles is it equals, hold on 1 second. All right, I'm reassigning the car miles value to car miles, the current value, plus miles. Whoops. So we can actually console log that. Car miles. So we've got the spare tires used is correct, but now we're going to add 1,500 plus 5,000 or 5,500 should equal 7,000 right here. If I run that, I get 7,000. So I'm literally just reassigning the miles in the object, the miles value in the object. And lastly, I can car spare tire used equals, I can essentially do the same thing just in case, spares tires used plus spares used. And if I console log that, if I run that, it should be 5. Right here, we have 5. Now we can just return the car, which is the car object. What is this? Miles is better written in dot notation. I don't care. I run that. We have the same. If we run the test specs, we get them both same. They pass. You can optimize this a little bit, but I just like to separate every little thing I'm changing into its own line. So I can submit that. But if you want to optimize it a little more, you can literally probably just use this, return this entire thing. You can move that to that, and then yeah, that's good enough. Still works. There we go. Now I can submit that. Great.
Cool. Thanks for the run through, Tom.
Yeah, no problem.